Take two. Hi guys, it's Ms. Marcotte. We're going to do a quick review to get ready for our quiz. It's going to cover one-step equation word problems, inequalities, and then independent and dependent variables. So let's go ahead and get started. In our book, we're going to look at page 247, lesson 4-5, which is write and solve equations with rational numbers. And we're going to take a look at number 9. Number 9 says, Tomas buys a bag of 5 peaches for $3.55. Let me go ahead and write down some of those key numbers we already got there. 5 peaches. We bought those for $3.55. Write and solve an equation to find how much money Tomas paid for each person. All right, so looking for some key math action words. So he wants to know how much he paid for each peach. That makes me think of multiplication. So those 5 peaches in total cost me $3.55. So if I multiply 5 times how much each peach costs, which they told me was going to be represented by the variable m, I should be able to find this out. So multiplying 5 times the money we spent on each peach should get me $3.55. Now, to get 5 by itself, right now we've got multiplication going on. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 5 to cancel out that coefficient. So we get the variable m by itself. So now I need to do $3.55. Divide that by 5 before I start dividing. Go ahead, bring that decimal up so I don't forget about it. Okay, 5 can't go into 3, but can go into 35 7 times. 7 times 5 gets me 35. Subtract, leaves me with no remainder. Bring down the 5. 5 goes into 5 one whole time. So the cost of each peach was 71 cents. All right. So let's go to our next example. We're going to look at some inequalities. So turn the page. Page 248, lesson 4-6 was understanding and writing inequalities. So a quick review of our different inequality symbols. We've got less than, greater than, and we've introduced less than or equal to when we've got the line underneath the symbol that says, that means it's equal to as well. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So we're going to translate number 1 and number 4. So for number 1, it says up to 5 people, P, visited Mary today. All right, so I know my variable is going to be P. I know the number that I'm working with is 5, up to. Okay, so that tells me that the maximum number of people that could visit is 5 people. Fewer than 5 people could visit, that's okay, but up to 5 people. So 5 people could also visit. So less than 5 people could visit, or exactly 5 people could visit. So that makes me think it's going to be less than or equal to. All right, and number 4, we've got the distance of the race D is at least 6 miles. Again, my variable D, my number 6, at least. So it could be more than 6 miles, but he has to run at least 6 miles. So he could run more than 6 miles, but he does have to at least run 6 miles. So he could run 6 miles, D could equal 6, or it could be greater than 6. All right, let's go to graphing these now. So remember, when we are graphing them, if it's less than or greater than, we're going to have an open circle on our number line. And if it's less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, we're going to have a closed circle. And that kind of makes sense because the closed circle, imagine like you're putting a dot on that number and then drawing an arrow in either direction. And kind of a way to think about it, the less than symbol that's telling me to draw my arrow to the left. And then the greater than symbol telling me to draw my arrow to the right. Okay, and also think about numbers that are less are going to be to the left. Numbers that are greater that are going to be to the right. All right, so we're going to look at numbers 1 and 3 here. Here we are given the graph. So we need to write the inequality. So I always start with my variable, which is going to be x. I can see that my dot is on 10. I have an open circle, so I know it's going to be less than or greater than. And my arrow is headed towards the left, which means it is less than. So x would be less than 10. All right, now let's look at number 3. Again, always start with my x. I can see my dot is on the number 3. I've got a closed circle, so I know it's going to be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And my arrow is headed towards the right, so it's going to be greater than or equal to. All right, last bit. Go ahead, turn the page. We're going to look at independent and dependent variables. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Here we go. So page 249, I'm going to look at lesson 4.8 and 4.9. So in 4.8, just talking about the difference between dependent variable and independent variable, which you guys should have talked about in science. Mr. Sokchuk says you have. So the dependent variable, it depends on the other. The independent variable, which variable causes a change. Okay, so there we've got some practice in just identifying which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable, which normally you won't do unless you have the equation. So in the example in 4.8, you've got the equation m equals 2c. And in this one, the m would represent my dependent variable. And it depends on c, which is my independent variable. Okay. All right, so let's look at 4.9. So here we are using patterns to write and solve equations. All right, and we're going to take a look at number 2. All right, so here we are given an equation. We're given our rule. Remember, this is like our input-output machine. So we are inputting different values for x to find out what the y values are. So my values of x are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so when x is 1, so 6 times 1 plus 1. Okay, well 6 times 1, that gets me 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay, let's change it now. So 6 times 2 plus 1, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 gets me 13. Okay, change that to 3. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 more gets me 19. Let's make it 4 now. 6 times 4 plus 1, 6 times 4, 24, plus 1 is 25. And lastly, 6 times 5 plus 1, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 gets me 31. All right, there we go. We should be good to go for our quiz. Again, covering one-step equation word problems, inequalities, and then independent and dependent variable. You guys do have your Unit 3 homework 5 questions that's due at the beginning of class, which we'll review, do the classwork, and then you guys should be good to go for your quiz. All right, have a good night, guys. Bye.